Hey everyone, it is January the 9th, Saturday. If it is your birthday, happy birthday. I hope you have an amazing, wonderful birthday. So I want to start doing some stories about like murder mysteries, abductions, and different things to share awareness so we can save as many more people as we can. There are always a lot of dangers in this world. Internet safety is very, very important, and we're going to touch on that on my channel a lot too. But today, I want to start like Murder Mystery Saturday or weekend kind of things. Today's story is going to be about Victoria Elizabeth Marie Stafford. And I feel like it's very important that we know her story and know what she went through and maybe help another family to not have to go through this. Trigger warning, this story is very, very brutal. It's about a little girl, an 8-year-old little girl, who was kidnapped, tortured, raped, and murdered. I just want to let you know ahead of time. Now, a lot of this I'm going to be reading from, articles and different things online. I'm sorry if I pause or I stutter. I do suffer from Tourette's and ADHD, OCD, different things, but let's get on with her story. So, Victoria Elizabeth Marie Stafford was born July 15th, 2000. She passed away on April the 8th, 2009. She was an 8-year-old little girl who loved Hannah Montana, who loved butterflies, loved music. She loved to sing, dance, play, loved to go outside, play in the mud, in the dirt, and just with flowers. She was just your all-American little girl who was happy, but from, Canada. I say all-American because that's how I was. I was the same kind of little girl. I loved nature. I loved singing, music, all that kind of stuff, Tori was from Woodstock, Ontario, which is in Canada. And if I mispronounce anything, I'm so sorry. Again, I'm not the best at this. Tori had a light about her that was so contagious. Such a beautiful smile, gorgeous eyes. I have seen several pictures of this little girl, and oh my word, her eyes, so beautiful. Tori had an older brother named Darren who, they were very close. He walked her to and from school every day, and normally that's who Tori would be walking home from school with. And unfortunately, on this day, he wasn't able to walk with her, and that was not his responsibility. He was not the parent. And I want to make that clear. I'm not bashing Victoria's parents at all. Don't take it that way. But it was not her brother's responsibility to walk her to and from school. That is a parent's responsibility. So Darren Stafford, or Darren, could not walk with Tori on the way home from school that day. Now, they called Victoria Tori for short. When I talk about Victoria, I'm going to call her Victoria because we have two other characters in this story who are named Terry and Tara. So those three names will get you really tongue-tied. Tori, Tara, and Terry. So I'm going to call her Victoria by her full name. Now, 8-year-old Tori's body was found, I think 4 days after her birthday. Her body was found July 19th. Her birthday was July 15th. So unfortunately, it was 4 days after her birthday, I guess, which would have been her 9th birthday. I'm not too great with the dates and everything, but I will try to keep them as clean as I can. So we have Victoria, who was an 8-year-old little girl who went to school. Her mama said that morning was a great morning. She got up, she was ready to get dressed for school. Had her Hannah Montana shirt on because she loved Hannah Montana. She loved Miley Cyrus. She loved the show, loved to sing. And she got her shirt. She was getting dressed for school and was super excited that day. She asked her mother if she could wear her butterfly earrings. So her mother let her borrow them. And then she was on her way to school. She had a full day. It wasn't until she left the school and came out front, Oliver Stevens Public School, that a woman approached her, and CCTV caught this on camera. I'm not going to show that clip because I know many channels have, but if you want to see that, you go on YouTube and look it up. I really just don't feel comfortable showing that clip. Terri Lynne McKlentic was 18. She had been outside of the school with Michael Rafferty. They had had a plan to kidnap a little girl for Michael's sexual fantasies. He had been researching child porn, pedophilia type stuff on his computer like the same day or day before that they actually did this. Now that wasn't used in court because police took it upon themselves to go through Michael's laptop and personal property without the proper warrants. So unfortunately, they couldn't use it in court. And it sucks when that happens because that really, I mean, yes, he did get sentenced to life, but that still could have changed laws. Different things can happen when police do their job right. Now, another thing that police didn't do right was they didn't issue an Amber Alert when she was reported that she was missing. They said they didn't have the authority to issue the Amber Alert. And we still don't necessarily understand why they couldn't get that authority or that approved, but they really needed it because an Amber Alert saves lives. If you can get an Amber Alert out within, especially like the first hour that a child is missing, millions of people in that area, or hundreds of people in that area will get the Amber Alert and can possibly find the child or see the child, spot the child somewhere, and call police, authorities, and save that child. Unfortunately, there wasn't an Amber Alert. So, she was a Canadian little girl. She goes out from the schoolhouse. Terry approaches her, leads her to the car. Now, we noticed on the footage that it seems like Victoria wasn't afraid of Terry. And that may be because Terri Lynne McKlentic and Victoria's mother, Tara, had sold drugs before with each other. Terry, the abductor, had sold Victoria's mother pain pills. Pain pills like Oxycontin, Percocet, Loracet, those kinds of pain pills. So Victoria's mother actually was acquainted with the abductor. And it wasn't until the video was shown of the actual abduction on TV that Victoria's mother realized, hey, I think I know that woman. That woman is Terri Lynne McKlentic. I know that woman. And then she had to tell police how she knew that woman. Could you imagine? Your child is missing, has been abducted and is missing, and you have no idea where they are, and you see on your TV screen, on the news, your child being lured away by a woman that you actually know because y'all have dealt drugs together. You have bought pills from this woman. Do you know how crucial and how scary, how intense that would be, or had to have been for Victoria's mother? Now, Victoria's mother was bashed in the media because it was known that she was an addict. She had used drugs. She had, a lot of issues with pain pills, methadone, Percocet, Oxycontin, and stuff like that. So the media made it known. Police actually kept kind of leaning towards Victoria's mother, Tara, because they didn't know if she didn't have anything to do with it. They weren't sure. Because of this, she didn't report little Victoria missing until later on that evening. She went about 2.5, 3 hours before she actually reported little Victoria missing, and she didn't technically report the little girl missing. She told the grandmother, in which the grandmother called authorities and reported little Victoria missing at about 6 o'clock that evening. So that kind of made her look like, why are you not reporting your child missing? Why are you telling the grandmother, and the grandmother is having to report your child missing? But, it is what it is. That's what happened. Now, if I go back and forth or whatever, I'm sorry. I'm not an experienced YouTuber, but I do want to start doing this. So bear with me. So, Terri Lynne McKlentic and Michael Rafferty lure Victoria. Terri Lynne, grabs Victoria by the hand, walks her to the car, and they leave. Now Michael had been waiting in the car. Little Victoria and Terri Lynne get to the car, they get in, they leave. They drive, leaving Woodstock. So they take little Victoria, they put her under a coat, they hide her in the car under a coat. They go to a Tim Hortons, they go to like a Home Depot to get items, because you know what they're going to do. They drive to a friend of Michael's to get some Oxycontin or pain pills, and then they go to a rural area. And at that point, that's where Terri McKlentic claims that he started to masturbate before the car even stopped. Once they got the car stopped, Terry claims that she got out of the car and just walked away because she knew what was coming. Because in that month or so that she had just met Michael, they had literally just met like a month before they did this crime. In that month of time, that short period of time of knowing each other, he made it clear to her what he wanted. He wanted her to help him abduct a child that he could rape. And that was clear. He made that clear to her, and she went along with it. Now, for anyone who's saying, yeah, but Terry did confess. Terry did confess to everything that happened. She didn't at first. Interrogators had to pull it out of her. You do realize they didn't find little Victoria's body until 3 months later, right? This happened, I think, April the 8th. They didn't find her body until July of, what was it there? July the 15th. Hold on, right here. July the 19th. So she went missing and died April the 8th. They found her body July 19th. That's almost 3 months later that Terry wouldn't tell anything and Michael wouldn't either. So back to what was going on. Terry gets out of the car and leaves Victoria with Michael, who she knows has told her he is going to brutally rape this little girl. As she's walking away, she hears the screaming start. She does nothing. She walks around and piddles around and lollygags around, mess around, whatever, just doesn't care. Doesn't care at all. And this is the truth. I can't feel bad for this girl. I don't care that she was 19, 18, whatever. I can't feel bad for her because she helped. She lured. She helped do this. She didn't get help. They stopped by 3 or 4 different places and she did nothing to save this little girl's life. And I still believe in my heart that Terri Lynne knew and had seen Victoria. And I think because she had sold pain pills to Victoria's mother, that she'd already had her kind of, place that she was going to get her. Basically, that she had already pinpointed, that's the kid we're going to get. And that's the school that she goes to. And I know that she walks home by herself in the evenings. Now, I don't know that for sure. I'm alleging that because, she dealt pills to her mother. To the little girl's mama. She had to have seen the kid at some point. Anyways, so he does horrible things. He rapes Tori so bad that she has got blood all over her. After a little bit of time goes by and he's raped her, he calls Terry back to the car and says, go clean her up and then bring her back. So Terri McKlentic gets little Victoria, 8-year-old little girl, and grabs her by the hand and walks her out to go clean her up a little bit. And she does just that. And as they're walking, Victoria begs Terry, please don't let him do this to me again. Please don't let him hurt me. Please, I don't want to do that again. Please don't let him hurt me again. This little girl begs, this woman begs her, please let me go. Please don't let him do this to me. And Terry tells her, you're strong. You can get through this. You're strong. You're a strong little girl. And little Victoria looks up at Terry and says, strong like you? And Terry says, yeah, but stronger. You're strong. You got this. You're strong, little girl. And then she turns around and takes little Victoria right back to him. It's at that point where she says that he is in the back seat and he has the door open and he again assaults, rapes. I'm not going to call it assault because it's rape. He brutally rapes Victoria and she's screaming. And the more she screams, Terry claims the more upset she gets hearing Victoria scream. Now, I don't know how much I believe of Terry's feel bad for me story because she didn't do anything to save that child. And remember, Terry actually tried to take the rap for her and Michael both. She actually tried to get the judge and jury to only lock her up and let Michael go. She tried to say that she did everything except for the rape, basically. And it wasn't again until sometime later she finally tells authorities where the body is. And once they, had the CCTV footage, they're like, that's you. What happened? And then she starts telling the story. So, I hate this part, but They're out there, and Victoria's screaming and crying and very loud, and Michael is getting angry, and Terry is getting enraged. So they put a bag over little Victoria's head, and they bludgeon her with a hammer. Terry claims, one story she claims that Michael killed little Victoria. In another story, she claims that she actually gave the killing blows to Victoria and bludgeoned her to death. I don't know which one to believe, because they both lie so much. Especially Terry. Terry lied about so many things that you just don't know what to believe. They murdered her. They beat her so bad, there was lacerations on her liver. Now, she had broken ribs. I'll read this part to you. Suspicion. 5 days after Staffords' disappearance, police called off the ground search, and her classmates returned to school the next day. The case was featured on America's Most Wanted. The initial investigation was led by local police, and later turned into a joint investigation with Ontario police, switching from a missing person investigation into an abduction case. On May 20th, 2009, police charged Michael Thomas Christopher Stephen Rafferty, 28, with first-degree murder, and Terri Lynne McKlentic, 18, with being an accessory to murder, in addition to lesser charges in the abduction and suspected murder of Stafford. Ontario police indicated that Stafford's mother was familiar with McKlentic. McKlentic assisted the police for the search of the remains of Victoria Stafford after her arrest, and her lawyer stated that her client wants Tori's family to know she is trying hard to find her body. They knew where her body was. They knew. On May 28, 2009, McKlentic's charges were altered to first-degree murder charge and unlawful confinement charge, and it was announced that the accused would be tried separately. Now, see, Terry was hoping that she would be able to take all the charges and let him go free, because they wanted to be the next Bonnie and Clyde duo. Dumb. Disgusting. To July 21st. On July 15th is when, that was her birthday. July 19th, they found Victoria's body. Then July 21st, 2009, police confirmed that remains found near Mount Forest 2 days earlier were those of Victoria Stafford. Stafford's body was naked from the waist down, wearing only her Hannah Montana shirt and the pair of her butterfly earrings that she had borrowed from her mother. Her lower half was significantly decomposed. During an autopsy, it was determined that she had suffered a beating which caused lacerations to her liver and broken ribs, and her eventual death was the result of repeated blows to the head with a claw hammer. I'm sorry, this one always gets to me because it's so... And this ain't even the detail about the rape. The rape will rip your heart into tiny pieces, trust me. And I didn't want to tell that in this video because the rape details are so bad. What he did to that child, what he did to that baby, is so disgusting and brutal and evil. McKlentic had pled guilty to first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison. McKlentic was held at the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Ontario. Now, that's another issue they had. They moved Terry McKlentic from the prison to a rehabilitation center, but it was like a lodge, like a spa lodge type place. Well, the people in that town were so pissed off that they told them, no, get her ass back in prison. She's not going to sit here at no day spa while she just killed that baby. Especially when she says that she gave the wound, the blow that killed Victoria. So everyone in the town and the family of Victoria was like, no, this is messed up. When it went on, even I was like, hey, we need a petition. How is this killer going from prison to a day spa, a lodge? Well, then Terry starts filing applications for compensation from being removed from that lodge back to prison. Terry McKlentic was mad because she wanted to stay in that lodge. She wanted to have that spa life. She didn't want to go back to prison. Who would want to be in prison? Well, she dropped all of her applications because she knew damn well she was not getting no money and no compensation. She's a killer. Michael, on the other hand, pled not guilty. He is considered the what they call the unbreakable murderer, because he still, for the longest time, said he was not guilty of rape, murder, kidnapping, anything. He claims, you don't have nothing on me, you can't prove it. And what's so messed up is the fact that the day before him and Terry McKlentic did this abduction and rape and murder, he was on his laptop downloading child porn. But guess what? Again, they couldn't use it in court, and the jury could not view that evidence. Why? Because police had went through his personal property without a proper warrant. Mind blown. Why would they do that? I mean, sure, they basically had the murder in the bag for Terry because she admitted to it, but he wasn't admitting to it. You know, with the right jury, he possibly could have got away with it. They didn't have much evidence with him except for Terry's confession. But Terry was the one on camera. So police really, you know, could have messed the whole thing up by doing that. Luckily, he was sentenced and he did get life. But I mean, geez, if they had have gotten a warrant and had his laptop, they could have showed further evidence of him downloading and researching child porn, child rape. He was Googling things like child rape, like teenage rape and and was downloading actual underage little girl porn. It was disgusting. Now, they bring Terry back to the prison because, again, people are not going to let her stay in a lodge that's basically a day spa, all because she was 18 when she did the murder. You're at that point, legally on paper, you're an adult. And that's usually the law, or it is in America anyways. So Terry and Michael both get life in prison. They get her back at the prison. Well, Terry, after claiming, you know, that she was, you know, blinded by love, and when they asked her, what was the reasoning? Why did you do this? Why did you go along with everything that Michael wanted to do to this little girl? Why did you go along with him wanting to rape children? Her excuse? I just wanted to meet a good man. I just wanted a good man in my life that I could love. Terry, I think when he started telling you that he wanted to rape little kids, that should have been your red flag that he's not a good man and not a good person to be around. That should have been your big ass red flag that said, hey, nah, bye-bye, you know, and report him to police. But she didn't do that. She went along with it because she's evil too. And yeah, I'm calling it for what it is. She's evil. And her whole story of, I was just following him because I loved him and I'm young and I'm dumb crap is over because she has assaulted another inmate, has been in 1 or 2 altercations in the prison that she started. And then, of course, these videos come out about Terry McKlentic's childhood. How she has she had this really bad childhood. She was molested. Her mother was molested. All these bad things that went on in her childhood. Well, let me tell you, she's not the only one with a bad childhood. A lot of us had a rough, bad childhood. And you don't see us out here getting our boyfriends little kids to rape. You don't see us doing that. You don't see us looking up stuff like that either. She did it because she wanted to please him and because she's just as evil. That's my opinion. Now, at the trial, when Michael Rafferty was sentenced, there is a portion that Terry's older brother, Victoria's older brother, her brother Darren Stafford, who was 14, spoke to the court as Michael had been sentenced to life in prison. So, of course, all the family, you know, gets to stand up and say what they feel like they want to say to the murderer in front of the court and the judge. And Victoria's brother Darren stood up and he says, I am lost without her, trying to move on without my baby sister, my best friend. I'm trying to get the whole part to pull up. He says, my sister was the only person I had to talk to, someone that felt what I felt, cried when I cried, laughed when I laughed, and now I feel alone, like the world is playing some sick trick on me. But it's not. This is my reality. Now I am lost without her, trying to move on without my baby sister, my best friend." The words were his. They were read out by Crown Attorney Stephanie Vinn. Darren sat quietly in the back by his cousins and his family. What happened next jolted everyone from their seats. Michael Rafferty, the man convicted of abducting, raping, and killing little 8-year-old Tori, apologized to the family for what happened to the little girl, but maintained he was innocent of the crimes for which he had been convicted. A bit teary, but his voice ringing clear, Rafferty told Victoria's mother, Terry McDonald, that he was willing to share all the pieces to the puzzle. This man had the nerve to stand up and say all this in front of the victim's family in court. How he was innocent, but he would share all the pieces to the puzzle. The hell does that mean? How are you innocent, but you're going to share all the pieces to the puzzle? To the rest of the family, he said, he was guilty of many crimes, and there are a lot of things I am very, very ashamed of. But these 3 counts I still stand firmly behind. I am not guilty. I do believe that I am a very definite part of why Victoria is not here today. His words didn't impress Justice Thomas Heaney. In scathing remarks, he told Rafferty he had destroyed the lives of Victoria's family. "You have snuffed out the life of a beautiful, talented, vivacious little girl, a tomboy diva in the trustful innocence of childhood. And for what? So that you could gratify your twisted and deviant desire to have sex with a child? Only a monster could commit such an act of pure evil. You, sir, are a monster." The judge called this man a monster. Victoria was abducted April 8, 2009, while walking home from school in Woodstock, Ontario. And again, they're giving a little, quick view. Michael and Terry, then lovers, were arrested a month later and charged with murder. Victoria's body was found July 19th. McKlentic Terry pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in 2010. And then Michael, too, was sentenced to life in prison with little chance of parole until at least 25 years have elapsed since his arrest. He was also sentenced to 2 10-year terms for sexual assault, abduction. The terms will run concurrently. Rafferty was placed on the sex offender registry in order to provide a DNA sample. Before he was sentenced, 8 victim impact statements were read out. They included Tori's dad, Rodney Stafford, her mother, Terry McDonald, her maternal grandmother, Linda Winters, and her paternal grandmother, Doreen Gratian, aunts Randy Millen and Rebecca Nichols, and Uncle Rob Stafford. McDonald, which was Victoria's mother, her voice often breaking, told Rafferty and everyone in the courtroom how she had to watch her son Darren grapple with the worst pain in the world and unbelievable guilt at 11 years old for not being able to protect his little sister. A part of all of us died with Victoria that day. Stafford did not mince any words when she said April 8, 2009 was a day of horror that would live with him, his family, and millions of others for the rest of their lives. There are no words that can express the hurt and anger inside having to relive that horrific day and the last hours of Victoria's life without wanting to explode with rage, said Stafford, adding he knows that evil does exist. Then there was Darren. Darren was just 11 years old when Tori went missing. The two were always together, often riding their bikes to a nearby creek to look for tadpoles and turtles. Now, he said, he has anxiety problems, he has nightmares, he is terrified of the dark, he can no longer walk alone without looking behind him constantly. His last memory of Victoria is from minutes before she went missing. We were arguing like any brother and sister, but when school was done and we parted, I didn't know I would never see her again. His estranged parents exchanged a heartbreaking look as Darren's statement was read. At least 9 jurors were present in the courtroom to hear the victim impact statements. So were numerous police officers. In one end of the crowded courtroom, Jennifer Merle, Victoria's teacher from Oliver Stevens Public School, sat with a friend. And they claimed that Michael Rafferty wiped his eyes or attempted to pretend like he was crying or seemed like he was sympathetic, but I don't believe it. Michael was transferred to a lower security prison. But it all goes to show, there's another statement where Victoria's mother says that Victoria's brother Darren, now 14, feels so guilty that he wasn't with Victoria that day when she was walking home from school. And that boy, he should not feel guilty. And I feel so bad for Darren, because Darren was an 11-year-old. Victoria was 8. They were walking home from school by themselves. Victoria hadn't seen her father in 6 months. So Victoria's mother was provider, guardian over these 2 children. Now, yes, she was going through addiction and bad decisions and making a lot of poor choices, but she did not kill these children. Yes, should she have walked with these children home from school? Yes. Should she have had some kind of guardian or supervision with these kids on the way home from school? Yes. There should have been someone with Victoria, coming home from school. There should have been. And my whole point of this story today is our kids are strong, so strong. And we know they're strong, and we love to think that they are the strongest and that we love them so much, because we do. But at the end of the day, they are just children. They're kids. And when you leave kids alone by themselves, they can become a target. They become prey, if you will. They can become prey to a predator like Terri and Michael Rafferty. I think Terri McKlentic possibly had already targeted Victoria from when she was going over and selling pills to Victoria's mother. Or it could have been that they just pulled out front of the school and Victoria was one of the first ones to come out alone. We don't know. But at the end of the day, this story, what it teaches me is children need to be supervised. They don't need to be walking anywhere by themselves, even if you think your neighborhood is the safest neighborhood in the world. Still, your children should not be unsupervised, especially at 8 years old. There should always be someone with your child. And it is not your children's siblings' responsibility to play the parent part either. If you're the parent, it's your responsibility to be the parent, the guardian. And again, I'm not bashing Terri McDonald, because I know she did not think nobody was going to kidnap her daughter and murder her that day. You don't think things like that will happen, but that's the problem with our society. We think, oh, well, we send them out to go to school. We think they're just going to come home and nothing's going to happen. But this story alone proves, yes, something can happen. You need to supervise children. You need to supervise them going to school, coming home from school. You need to supervise them on the internet. You need to supervise them in grocery stores, in Walmart, if they go to a friend's house. You know, there needs to be a parent there. We, as parents, have to stand up and say, hey, I can prevent something bad from happening if I just, not let that child walk by themselves today. You know what? I'll just walk with you. I don't feel comfortable with you going by yourself. And yes, most children are going to say, Mom, I can do it. Don't worry about it. I've done it 1,000,000 times with my brother or my sister or my papa or whatever. I've walked to school a bunch of times without you. I can do it. Don't do that. Just go with them. Yes, they may get aggravated. Yes, they might feel a little smothered, but I would rather the children be alive and be aggravated than be dead. You know what I'm saying? I would rather these children live long lives. Most kids get aggravated when you ask them, who are you talking to? Who are you texting? Who's on that phone? Who's on that laptop? Who's on that tablet? Who are you talking to on Minecraft? And that's my personal business, or I don't want to tell you, or, oh, nobody. The worst thing you can do is not ask. Because there are so many predators in this world who are targeting kids. There are so many predators on the internet. Look at how many have been exposed in the last 2 weeks. Mini Lad. Call Me Carson, I think is what it's called. And I don't want to necessarily call them predators, but they were talking to minors and getting nudes from minors. So still, yes. And using a power dynamic of, I'm this big famous YouTuber, and I'm going through a hard time right now. So of course, the children, the minors, the fans, they feel bad. How can I help you? And, well, send me nudes. Okay. Talk to your kids. Even if your child is 15 years old, talk to them. Hey, how's school? Who's your friends? Who do you follow on YouTube? Do you talk to anyone on YouTube? Go monitor their internet activity. Monitor their phones. Know where they are. Know who they're with. Know who they're talking to. Yes, they're going to get mad. Your children are going to be so annoyed because you're being nosy. I was that same teenager. Please don't ask me who I'm dating. Please don't ask me where I'm going. Please don't. But my parents, it didn't work that way. My parents, yeah, who are you talking to? Who's this boyfriend? Who's this girlfriend? What? You're going to tell me. All I'm saying is, let's try to make this community safer and try to prevent these things from happening. Because the more awareness we share, the more knowledge we have, the more we educate ourselves and our children, the safer our community can be. Now, YouTube has had a lot of people being exposed. I just touched on that a little bit, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit more. There are so many people that are being caught talking to minors and exchanging nudes with minors through text messages, DMs, Snapchat, Instagram, all these platforms. Parents, let me stress to you, these platforms are dangerous. Know who your kids are following. Know who they're friends with. Know if they're being cyberbullied. Know if an influencer is talking to them. Know. Just know. Educate yourself on how to use the app if you don't know how. Take your child's phone and say, okay, who's this? Go through the stuff or get an app. There are so many apps that you can get now to where you can actually watch your child's activity. Yes, call it being nosy, call it invasion of privacy. I'd rather your child be alive. So please, just try. That's all I'm saying. Just try to supervise and monitor what they're doing. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm going to do some more of these shortly. And if I missed anything, I'm sorry. If I mispronounced anything, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but my Tourette's, OCD, and all the issues that I have makes me stutter and kind of go blank sometimes, and I touch my face a lot. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, leave a like, leave a comment. If you got any that you want me to look into, leave it in a comment. Thanks for watching.